and CEO of Fastcall, and I'm going to talk for a few minutes about our dashboard. So it's December 2017. I'm looking at our version, I think this is actually our version 4.72. We've had the dashboard available for the last couple of releases, and we will continue, of course, to improve this area, but the dashboard is totally new. I happen to be in Classic. I'm going to show you the dashboard as well in Lightning. The dashboard's a little different because in Lightning, we're doing this in Lightning components, and that enables us to do more in dashboard really moving forward. But here in Classic, you'll see that we do see the OpenCTI file here in the sidebar. This is the classic layout. But the dashboard itself is not a setting in our application. It's actually, it's really its own application as a tab. So I have my Fastcall settings here, and we have for example, a user panel in the Fastcall settings, but this is itself its own page. And you'll see if this is a new installation, the dashboard is enabled by default. But if it's not, if you're upgrading Fastcall, you're going to add the page to whichever application in the Salesforce application menu that you work in. I happen to have it in an application called Sales, which is one of the native applications. Um, it could actually be incorporated into a console, which I have, or just the application that's the Fastcall application. But you are going to add the tab. You are going to add the tab um, to an application, so you're going to see it here because again, it's a page that's available to all users. It's not part of the settings. So what is dashboard? So dashboard is made up of calls and our call goals. And what's really different about dashboard is that it is calls for a group, and really it is geared towards groups. The user's individual calls are always here in the widget. There's calls. I do have SMS here. Um, these are user call goals and my internal dialer. So it's everything we've have in the widget that we've added and a few things we've added recently. But these are my user calls, excuse me, end user goals. But these are calls that are assigned um, to groups, to users and filters. So for example, if I want to see all of my missed calls, which really is the primary use case for dashboard, it's going to show me all of my missed calls. And if I want to show missed calls, um, and we do even have the ability to filter for missed calls that have a reply and missed calls that do not have a reply, which is also somewhat new. Of course, I can filter by dates, but if I want to see that the calls were assigned to a specific user, I can search for that user. This user probably won't have any calls, but I can also search for a group. And this is really where, so I can come in here and I can search for a group, and I'm really going to be able to see based upon, for example, when you have an ACD set up and there are calls going to multiple users in a group, this is really where you're able to see calls that are coming in to a group phone, to an ACD phone that are missed. And I can come in here and I can click on the individual record, and there's now detail over here where I can come in and I can make a reply call here. I can call back right here from this dashboard. And that's really, we think, a great way to sort of manage these calls in the list. So as a matter of fact, I have 3 missed calls in this that were in this ACD. If I reply to these 3 missed calls, I now have no missed calls. And that's really the objective, is to not have any missed calls or calls that haven't been replied to. Um, and I'm really able to do that here in the dashboard. And going forward, we are actually going to update these columns with some uh, fields that make a little bit more sense, or we think are just a little better. And in Lightning, which I'll show you now, in Lightning dashboard really looks very similar, but because these are Lightning components, I can now start to have multiple Lightning components inside of Lightning. So I can have a dashboard of my completed calls. I can have a dashboard of my missed calls. I can have a Lightning component of each of those. So I can be looking at the dashboard with multiple windows within inside of that dashboard. So I can look at all of my in-progress calls. This is my org I've none. but I can have all of my in progress calls. I can have my uh, my completed calls, my missed calls. Again, if I wanted to look at um, different groups, I can do that. So I can create a dashboard that had, if I do have multiple ACDs, I could create dashboards for Windows screens for each of those groups within the dashboard. We also have our call goals here. I don't have many set up in this org. Um, but again, the call goals are another area where we've recently improved, but what we're showing here now is call goals for the user, which the user can see also in the widget, or the call goals for the group, which is really great, again, to be able to see in the dashboard the data for the group. So again, if you have any questions, shoot us an email, uh, uh, support@fastcall.com. We hope you really enjoy the dashboard. It's an area we've been working on, and we'll really continue to improve next year because we're super excited about it and super excited to really be able to start to really improve how these group calls and really group missed calls are managed and triaged, which has been an area that we've really been focusing on. Great, thank you, and we look forward to your feedback.